Welcome to Siena. It's a marvellous location. I absolutely love this city and it's fantastic to be back. We were out painting with the group today. I managed to get a nice little plein air painting done, and then I got around and helped all the students with their paintings. But as you can see, the lights kind of deceived us a little, so we thought what we would do is we'll head back to Spinocchia, where we can possibly do a little bit of drawing just to finish the day on. This is the world famous Campo. They have the horse race that goes around, and it's just a magnificent location. It's just a really special place. So it doesn't really matter the size of the drawing book, but so long as we get a bit of drawing done. So I'm starting off with a 4B pencil, and I might bring in a little bit of 5B pencil as well. For me, the actual paper is quite important. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the really rough paper. I find it a little tricky to be able to tie and understand what value I'm working in, because it seems to leave a little bit of ridges and highs and lows. So that I favour a slightly smoother surface. This was a really great subject, and I thought, when here, let's try and make the most of it. So here I'm just getting in all the big shapes. It's so important because there's nothing worse than getting away along with the drawing or painting and then finding that we've got the drawing, the shapes, the composition, the design wrong, or there's a design fault. And that's bound to happen, but we try to work against that and work to our advantage, because we're always time poor with a painting, and I think we need to take that into consideration. Please excuse my voice. Managed to pick up a bit of a throat infection on the way here to Europe. But just always find when you're travelling, you've got to make the most of it. Keep up your fluids and keep up your enthusiasm as well for the trip, because it can so easily get the better of you. So now getting down into that bottom focal area. Also, it doesn't hurt to get some of those windows in. And now we can just make sure we're getting that light effect working. So we've got the light coming in from the left and travelling to the right. As I always like to think, it's not just about the light, and drawing does prove that and really does train us, remind us just how important the shadows are, the mid-tones, the darkest darks. That's what really will, you'll notice that comes into this scene, into this little drawing. And I'm starting to notice the longer that I'm holding on to the little notebook, the little drawing book, that for me it is a little on the smaller side, but I was just fortunate to be able to have a little bit of paper to work on. So just constructing it. The one thing I do find with drawing is that unlike painting, because we're so close to it, it's a little harder to step back. And also when you're filming, you're going sort of as quickly as possible to get as much information down as well. Quite often I'll use my fingers to help soften a shadow or spread a little bit of the graphite, say up into the sky or into that big car shadow, that one coming down on the 45 degrees there. But it is a little bit of a lost art for many art schools, colleges. They seem to think it's old-fashioned, but I truly believe it's the engine in my artistic career that's really allowed me to truly see those interesting shapes, interesting subjects. I think that should never be understated, because I believe when I start the day with a good or great subject, it just makes life so much easier. Nothing worse than trying to coerce, trying to make something out of an average scene. And boy, Italy is for me is renowned for great subjects, possibly is one of the great countries where you can travel the shortest distance but find so many different subjects. I think this is about my 7th trip to Italy, and I could easily one day love to find myself living here if I was fortunate enough. But that's all for the future. So we're starting to get to the business end of this little drawing. Just coming back to double check some of those values coming in on that left-hand side. And this is probably the moment where I will try and, even though you can't see me off camera, but I will be trying to lean back a little just to get a little bit of an idea, because I don't mind squinting down at the subject. I prefer to just keep my eyesight just trained on the subject, but more moving back is always a safer option, I believe. And foliage is always a tricky one when it comes to drawing because we don't have colour, and I think that's the great strength of drawing. It does teach us that shape is so important. Shape is our guiding light. It's the thing that needs to inform and also give us direction. And it's not only individual shapes, but it's those big shapes as well, all tying together. So I've just got that big shadow in the foreground, and that does help push and move the eye as well. And I think also directional lines where the guttering and that does help push the eye into areas and keep it almost like how a funnel works. It's all funneling the eye into that light on that wall. And the little tower in the background probably doesn't really need to be there. I think that pretty well wraps us up there. It was a fun little drawing, and they're always great to capture. Well, that's a bit of a wrap for the day. It's been a busy day, a long day. Thankfully the sun's come out actually to finish the day. And the scene that I drew, I definitely will be doing in oil when I get a chance, probably in the studio, because I think it deserves to be a really decent size because it's a pretty spectacular scene. Probably made one little mistake where I should have made the wall a little taller. So in my mind, it feels a little out of proportion. I'm probably a little rusty with the drawing as well. So you take the good with the bad and always try and learn something from each day I'm painting or drawing. So all the best. Bye for now.